Hi, my name's Peter Steinfeld and I'm with AlertMedia. We help organizations keep their people safe and informed through an incredibly powerful yet easy to use mass notification software. Today, I'm going to share some tips and tricks to help you improve your organization's communication during the various phases of a hurricane. At AlertMedia, we strongly believe that communication is the linchpin of any business continuity or disaster recovery plan. The reason being that, during an emergency, almost nothing seems to go to plan. You must observe what's happening around you, make new decisions based on that information, and then quickly communicate to those in harm's way. Simply put, if you can't communicate, you can't recover, no matter how good your original plans seem to be. Generally speaking, your communication should be timely, targeted, and two-way. Let's now discuss how these apply to one of the most destructive forces in nature, hurricanes. Here's a quick overview of the various phases of a hurricane that you'll encounter. As you see here, there are 6 distinct phases of a hurricane. Each one brings its own challenges, but for each one, outcomes can absolutely be enhanced through the application of appropriate and timely communications. Let's go through them one at a time with some real-life examples too. The full destructive power of a hurricane typically lasts about 12 hours on shore. However, the average hurricane from initial detection to storm over lasts about 9 days. That's quite a big window of time. Now, couple that with the often unpredictable and erratic path of the storm, and you'll sow the seeds of confusion. Without a doubt, confusion can be deadly in a hurricane. There's one very powerful antidote to confusion, and that's clear, concise, and timely communication. A good portion of that 9-day period of a hurricane is before the storm actually hits. They aren't like tornadoes, earthquakes, flash floods, fires, and other emergencies that strike without warning. You can literally see them coming for days. So, take full advantage of that time and start communicating early. Most importantly, the initially predicted path will likely change, so be sure to keep people continuously updated of the latest progress of the storm. Start communicating things like what's going to happen if the storm does hit, such as potential facility closures. Ensure people know your expectations of them and, just as importantly, what they can expect of you. Also, offer some key guidance on best practices for hurricanes. Getting people in hurricane mode can be very beneficial. An ounce of prevention is absolutely worth a pound of cure. Now, let's talk about what to do if the storm is on track to put your people in harm's way. At this point, you have to clearly communicate any office, facility, or store closures. There should be zero confusion about whether or not people should come to work. Make a call and communicate it. Failure to do so can put people in harm's way, as they either try to come to work when they shouldn't, or fail to leave the area when they should. Clear communication is critical to avoid any and all confusion. After you've told people not to show up for work, move on to phase 3, which is to offer assistance in the way of guidance. Provide suggestions and share helpful websites and resources. Remind people to do things like secure their property, obtain adequate food and water, top off fuel tanks and replace batteries, review and update evacuation plans, and, importantly, not to take any unnecessary risks. Also, remind them where they can go for assistance during and after the storm if they need help. Now, if the storm looks like it's going to be really bad, you should strongly consider communication that recommends evacuation. It sounds odd, but many of our clients hear from their employees that the employer made them aware of the evacuation and not state or local authorities. Frankly, some people just don't pay attention to the news, or they don't believe it until someone they know and trust tells them. It becomes real for them when their employer says it. You can always send lawyer-approved messages simply stating that you're relaying what authorities are telling you and that it's up to the employee to decide for him or herself. It can make a real difference. I'll share with you now one story of an AlertMedia client, one with a very important mission that relied on our mass notification software quite heavily, actually, during Hurricane Harvey. The Gulf Coast Regional Blood Center collects around 800 blood donations daily and supplies it to over 170 hospitals. Each blood donation can save up to 3 lives. During normal times, their mission is very critical, but it becomes exponentially so during a region-wide emergency, like a hurricane, when there are an increase in injuries and a need for blood. They leveraged AlertMedia during the storm in several ways. First, by using our conference call notification feature to quickly assemble people to discuss new courses of action based on the constantly changing situation. Second, by sending notifications to drivers to coordinate plans for blood delivery. If you recall, Houston was an absolute mess and you couldn't travel across the city or even into or out of it for the better part of a week. And lastly, they could quickly inform staff of canceled blood collection drives and then contact them quickly again once they were able to reopen as floodwaters receded. Now, once the storm has passed, you have to remember to let people know the storm is over. At the appropriate time, it's important to issue the all clear message so people know what's expected of them. Just like before the storm, there's often a great deal of confusion after the storm. People aren't sure what to do. They're wondering things like, do I go to work? Do I stay longer? You don't want people coming back too soon. You do want to communicate things like the impact of the storm, the status of your facilities, and the expectation for returning to work. However, not everyone's going to be ready to return. It's important to quickly assess the status of your workforce. A post-hurricane needs survey is often overlooked but incredibly important and valuable. Some of your employees will be in real trouble and are going to need help. Take this time to reach out and connect with everyone to assess their situation. Are they okay? Are they not okay? Do they need assistance? Once you find out, you'll be able to quickly direct help to precisely where it's needed. Also, you'll know who in your workforce is ready and able to return to work to get things running again. One of our clients did just that. A Texas-based energy services company used AlertMedia to send post-hurricane surveys to their people and, based on the feedback, provide immediate assistance to those in need. It was a simple but highly impactful survey. If you need help recovering from the storm, press or respond with 1. If you don't need help and can return to work immediately, press or respond with 2. If you don't need help but can volunteer to help those who do, press or respond with 3. Not only was it good for their people, but it was good for business. The faster their people could recover personally, the sooner they could return to work. The company also gained deep gratitude and increased loyalty, as employees saw that the company really does care. There are benefits all around. All right, I hope you found this information very helpful today. Please contact us if you have any questions about the material covered, or if you'd like to schedule a demo of our emergency notification software. Thanks for joining me today, and stay safe.